Warning. What you are about to see and hear is for entertainment purposes only. The opinions expressed on the show are our opinions and do not reflect the views of BTW21 or its staff. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel and Chad.
God is looking for something real, someone real. People are looking for something real. Just be real. We're back with you again. It is 2024. I'm Daniel Lewis, your host, Daniel Lewis, Brother Chad Hudson.
Hello.
Yes, we're so thankful to be back with you. We got an amazing season coming up for you. We thank you for all the support that we've had last year in 2023. Times are rough. Times are crazy. And so we just kind of want to be local. We want to do the local thing and bring local people to you, have a positive atmosphere. And so we greatly appreciate everybody that's subscribed to us, everybody that's wanting to tune in on a Thursday, either here on the show at BTW21 or on YouTube. So we greatly appreciate that a whole lot.
Now, we've got a great guest coming up.
We've got an amazing guest.
Right. This is
I
going
don't
to
know
blow
about our first guest.
Our first
Right.
guest. It's amazing.
Yep,
but
yep.
I do want to talk real quick and just thank everybody for the holiday spirits that we had. We had a great time.
Yes.
We went to Connecticut, my family and I. My mother had a great time. Everybody got sick. I guess it was just that time of year.
I got sick too.
Did you?
Yeah, I got sick. I'm not trying to make it about me.
No, go
you've
ahead.
got a whole family.
No, everybody got sick.
Everybody got sick.
My mom got sick. Katie got pneumonia. My stepfather got COVID. Everybody was sick. The whole household was sick. But now everybody's healthy, and we're back at a new year.
Back
We've
at it
got
again.
a great guest, and please, Daniel, please introduce him.
Mr. Dennis Bender. Here he is. SSS, Stop Soldier Suicide.
Amen.
I saw this gentleman on the internet. It's on Facebook. It was shared. I think Martinsville Bulletin did an article about you, and I just had to have him out here. We are 100% patriotic. We love the American flag, which we love the American soldier. I mean, somebody that's willing to give their life for us. It's just that amazes me. My son was in the Air Force. I've got two grandpas that fought in World War II. And then throughout the family history of uncles and all those that went through the Marine Corps, Army, Navy, no matter what it is. I mean, it just it speaks volumes to me. I have not, like what I've shared with Chad before, I have not lost faith or hope or love for my country. I have lost faith, hope, and love in my government, unfortunately. But the men and women that have given their lives and have the same feelings I share with them, even though I've never done anything, I've loved them. And so I see that love in you also. In that article that I read, I was like, man, we got to get him out here. So I reached out to you. You say, yes, sir, let's do this.
Yep.
And so if you would right there, look at that camera and just kind of introduce yourself. I know I'm putting you on the spot,
Yeah, you
man.
are. You said it was going to be like normal.
It's just the first 5 minutes.
First
if
5
you
minutes,
just
put him on the spot.
Introduce yourself and what you do.
Okay. Dennis Bender, Army veteran.
Awesome.
So let's just stop. See, we're going to stop you right there. You're going to go on this thing and look for it. But I just want to appreciate you for your service.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Most pleasure.
And you
More
probably
than
hear
you
that a lot. Most veterans that I deal with,
Hear
they're
that.
like, man, they hear that constantly. But I
But
mean,
it's from
you
the
know,
heart, brother.
Yeah,
And
I
they
mean,
should.
you can tell. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
It's not me personally, I don't like to be. I just like to be thanked and moved on. No matter what I'm doing for anybody else, I don't need to be propped up. This is very out of my comfort zone here. I would like to be in the background.
Right.
Thank you.
And we can tell that. We can tell that.
Let's move on with it.
We're moving.
So, I get uncomfortable when someone, compliments me or tells me I'm doing a good job and stuff. So I just,
Well,
but thank you for having me. Look forward to it.
You got to know that there's people out there, especially men. I mean, I guess I know women do too, and kids and whatever. But we grew up in a generation. I think our generation was right after the Vietnam War, and we, our fathers and grandfathers fought in it. That you carry that on. I mean, I want to hear more from you. Right. About that, but I mean, it's just like I don't know. I've just always been patriotic. I mean, I'm so blessed. I could be in Peru right now making damn phones or whatever, or my kids could be starving on the side of the road. But no, we're here in America.
That's right.
The most blessed country in the world
ever,
and it's ever in the civilization of man, in the whole history of man. Every civilization, I can't say it too good. Every civilization, we are so blessed. People does not realize, and that American flag, that one right over there, it stands for the blood and the backs of men that have fought for this country.
That's right.
And you're one of them. You've signed up, and your friends have signed up to do that. So I just want to say thank you.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. Serving alongside of some,
and all the other ones out there too.
Yeah,
thank you.
Served alongside some pretty awesome soldiers.
Right.
Being in Iraq, and then when I got moved up to Fort Drum, had some good guys up there too. I think we're going to talk to a couple of them at some point in this.
Yeah,
we're going to give them a call,
up, brother.
Yeah, we can give them a call now. Or we can wait till later. Whatever.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like we're kind of talking about the Army stuff right now, so we can probably call them up right now.
Yeah,
if you want.
It's your show, man. It's your show.
It's not my show.
I'd like to know a little bit more about you, though. If you would back up, are you from here?
Yeah. Originally, I'm from Martinsville, born and raised here. Left, went to college for a little bit. 9/11 happened.
Not many people know about that.
Yeah,
I mean, we got kids.
So you talk about your generation, your parents are, the Vietnam veteran area. Yeah. My kids' generation is now the Afghanistan.
Right.
So most of us, my daughter's 18, is at UVA now. My son's 12. So that generation's parents are the ones that fought in the Afghanistan and Iraq wars. So it's crazy how we keep moving.
It is.
So yeah, I'm originally from Martinsville. Went to college, like I said, for a couple of years, and then 9/11 happened, and being a selfish 20-year-old, I think I was at the time,
Amen.
I had a family member go to the Pentagon keep smacking, sorry.
No,
dude, I'm all
play the drums. It's all good.
Right.
So I had a family member go up to the Pentagon to help volunteer with the Red Cross, and I was asked if I wanted to go up there for the weekend to drive dump trucks while they were moving stuff, help feed and everything.
Yeah.
And just being a dumb kid, not really realizing what's going on. It did hit me, but I was just like, I had a softball tournament that I was going to play in. No, I'm good. I'm good, right?
Right.
So the family member comes back and telling all of us about everything that was going on, the smells, how everybody's acting, and it really hit me really hard. I asked myself if I'm not willing to sacrifice, for the freedom of this country, how can I ask someone else to do it?
Right.
And that hit me, and then I started thinking, well, if I'm thinking about joining the military, is my brother, who I am as close to as you can possibly be with somebody. Is my brother-in-law? Well, he wasn't my brother-in-law at the time. Is my brother-in-law now? Is he thinking about it to doing it?
Yeah.
Is my childhood best friend thinking about doing it? And I was like, to me, I guess in my head where it kind of switched was, if I do it and if they're thinking about doing it, maybe they'll say, well, Dennis is doing it. I don't need to do it. So that's kind of in my head was what kind of my motivation was to go in, was to give all the people that I cared about here in Martinsville and in college the out that I know somebody doing it, so I don't really have to do it.
Right.
And then on that, I wanted to get revenge, for all those lives that lost. So that's kind of where it went.
Right,
that's where
almost 3,000. It's just like so that was the defining moment, I guess.
Yes,
9/11
yes,
was
sir.
the defining moment.
100%. 9/11 happened September. Obviously, I went to the recruiter October. Went to MEPS November, got everything squared away, and I was in basic training on January 15th.
Wow.
Was my sign-in date.
Ready to go.
Yeah, so it went pretty quick. I think I was the easiest recruit that my recruiter had ever because I walked in.
Just ready. Just
said,
whatever you got, bro.
Walked in, said, what do we have to go
Yeah.
on? He said, well, let's take your test, the ASVAB test, and see what you score. I did pretty decent on the ASVAB test, so I had a lot of different options. And then I said, tell me a little bit about each one of them. And he tells me, and at the time they had these videos that went with each one of them. Well, for me, it was like, no, I'm not going in to push papers or whatever. I'm going in to fight. So what do we want to do? And so it was scout or infantry or tanker.
Wow.
And so I watched the videos, and the scout, you know, you work behind enemy lines and blah, blah, blah. And the video was a guy riding a dirt bike and a four-wheeler. And I'm like, I'm into four-wheeling, so that looks pretty awesome. I get to evade from the
Definitely
enemy.
from Martinsville.
Yeah, I said I get to evade the enemy and be behind enemy lines and sneak around and work in small groups. That's definitely me. I don't have to walk like the infantry. The tankers look like they don't really get to see any action because they stay in the tank the whole time. So I was like, let's do that. Let me tell you, I never once rode a four-wheeler or a dirt bike when I was in the Army, other than the one that I purchased and rode on my free time. So.
That video looked good.
No dune buggy, nothing. That video looked really good.
The video looks really good.
That's right. I think it got a lot of us scouts. So
Yeah.
if I wouldn't change a thing, I would have done the same. I would have done the
That's
exact same
great,
thing.
man.
Yep.
Yes, awesome stuff, man. I love it. So, what led you up to now? Well, first of all, before we keep going, married,
Yes.
kids.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to mention their names, or maybe you want to shout out to them, or I mean, it's up to you. I mean, you know, it's public.
They don't care anything about me.
It's public.
My daughter's 18, and as long as Dad sends money, gets
I know.
She knows
my
she love you.
My son is he's too busy with his video games. I told him I was coming up to
know
do
that.
this, and he says, "Where can I watch it at?" And I'm like, and I just kind of telling him, he was like, "All right, bet." And I'm like,
I love that word, bet.
Yeah.
I got that. Yeah.
so it's just
That's kind of sus. That's kind of sus.
Yeah, it's one thing after another. So they know. Hey,
Well, they love you. Yeah, he's a father of 7.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah,
father of
I got 7. So,
3. So yeah, we've been through. We've got
We've been
different.
through
He's
that.
got age ranges from what 30 something, 35, 30.
well,
What is
no,
it?
30. Austin
Yeah,
is
Austin.
30, and my
30, okay.
and my youngest is 3.
Yeah.
So I have 30 to
He's got
3,
the every generation.
and I have one on the way.
oh,
Yeah. So you know,
I turned that card in a few years ago. But now with my daughter being gone and my son's getting older, I was like, man, that might have been a mistake.
No, I have
was a-
I have a 30-year-old with two grandchildren, and you know, back what you were talking about, that 9/11, I had a 5-year-old. Well, I think it was 5. Yeah, I had a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I was still going to enlist.
Yeah.
How old were you at the time?
I think I was 25
Okay.
at the time. You know, I was on the older edge.
Yeah,
of
I was
things.
20, so I was kind
I
of
was on the
considered
older
old
side.
too.
But
yeah.
when that happened, I think not only I, but everyone was ready to enlist.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely. It
That
was-
was just. I mean,
That's the most patriotism I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
In my
Right.
life, and
Yeah,
you know,
leading into from 9/11 up until, I mean, even like 07, 08, we were still all about the military, all about what the mission was
Yeah.
and everything, and it was pretty awesome to see that. Now
Right.
it's just kind of, I mean, there's still a lot of people that say the things, but I don't feel the same as.
yeah, they don't.
That you could see it visibly, I guess,
is.
with amongst the media and stuff. I guess you
Right,
should say.
right. The media really.
But
kills.
people, guys like you, I mean, it's always going to be the same with you guys.
Yeah.
So,
well, the media really, it throws stuff out there to you. So what you take in as true or what you take in as false is really
You're still talking about
you're still talking
whether
about
it's
it.
false or
right.
But
something you don't
but
like or
I
don't agree
believe
with.
I believed in signing up probably for the first time in my life
Yeah.
at 25, because at 20, what Daniel was bringing up, the Vietnam War, was that a place I grew up? Was that a place that we really needed to be in?
Right.
So I had family members that served in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But I also had family members like, hey, we don't even need to be there. Why are
Right,
we there?
right.
So it really left me in a whirlwind of what we need to do. But when 9/11 came, it was It
was a no-brainer.
It was a
Yeah, it was a
no-brainer.
no-brainer.
Absolutely.
This
Right.
is it. You know,
This is
you
it.
don't come into my home.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And wrestle my kids around. So, yeah, I honor you for that. And I know when I mentioned that earlier, you were trying to like, yeah, okay, thank you. I heard it. Let's move on. I get that. When I do a good job and I hear somebody trying to praise me, it's real easy to just be like, you know, no, don't do that. That makes
ain't
me
why I
feel
done it.
that's not
Oh,
why
I
I
know,
done
I
it.
know.
It makes me feel uncomfortable. But I truly want you to believe the honor that I have for you
Yes.
to go out there and serve.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
and-
I understand that.
and it
And I
will-
really appreciate it.
and it will
really do.
continue.
You can tell it's genuine. So.
And it will continue. It's not just 25 years. It's not just when it happened. It's not just when you're serving. It's not just now that you're not serving anymore. I don't know. You know, we haven't got into what you're doing now. I would like to, but it's forever, brother.
Right.
It's
It
Oh,
is.
absolutely.
It
And that's,
is.
you know,
It's forever.
the bond that you have with the guys that I went in there with. And
Brothers.
yeah, I mean,
Brothers.
they are
Real brothers.
Real brothers. Absolutely. I still stay in touch with probably 8 or 9 of them. 2 of them, I love them I love them as equal as I do my little brother. So
We get that.
we stay in contact. The 8 or 9, you know, I love them like my brothers too, but I'm really close with 2 of them who we'll be talking to later on. But
Yeah.
but going back to when I got out in 06, I had a little bit of issues getting out, adjusting, and probably a year and a half maybe. The unit that I was with in Iraq went over. The unit I was with at Fort Drum went to Iraq, and the truck that I was responsible for while I was at Fort Drum training and everything, they ended up getting a hit and losing all the guys. So it really hit me hard. So on top of the adjustment of getting out, not having that brother, you know, and going through that stuff, now I have some sort of guilt that I was asked to re-enlist to be over there, and now, you know, these couple of guys are dead now, and so that hit me really hard. So I went back to the recruiter,
Wow.
and I said, I'd like to come back in. I didn't let my wife know. I didn't let my brother know, my dad, and anybody. I showed up to
Something
the
you had to do personally.
Showed up to the recruiter, and he said, "Give me a few minutes." And probably a couple of days later, he calls me up. He goes, "There's not enough medical waivers to get you back in the Army." He said,
Really?
"Enjoy your pension from the VA
Man.
from all the injuries that I sustained." So yeah, I tried to get back in. What's funny is I could have re-enlisted with all the same injuries that I had,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't let me back in. So it is what it is. So it wasn't meant for me to go back in. So,
Right.
Yep.
God had other plans.
Yep, he sure did.
And he's really moved. He's
Yes.
really moved
Yep.
from what I've seen and what I've heard.
Yep.
From a lot of folks, not just the article, but just from the, just from the community. You've really made a positive impact. I want to talk about that too.
Okay.
I just wanted to kind of give everybody a little background story on
thank
what's
you.
going on. But so what got you? I mean, I don't want to talk about your time over there in Afghanistan. I mean, Iraq, if you don't want to talk about it. But
Might be another podcast.
yeah, another podcast. But what got you into this right here? What you're doing with the SSS,
Well,
which is Stop Soldier Suicide.
Stop Soldier Suicide
Yes.
organization, yes, sir. A couple years ago on Facebook, like I said, I hadn't always been this big. I've gained about 40 pounds since I moved back.
Me too,
to
brother. We're all good.
the big boy club. Yeah,
COVID-19.
yeah, I've gained about 40, 45 since I moved back.
Amen.
Since I moved from New Jersey to back to Virginia about 4.5 years ago. But that leads into what I was doing. I was on Facebook and was scrolling through and all the ads and everything, come in between each people's posts, and saw one for Stop Soldier Suicide Challenge. It was sometime in October. The challenge, they was promoting it for November. And the challenge said, let's ruck march 50 miles for the entire month. And what a ruck march is, and I'm not going to, if you guys know it, you know it. If you don't know it, I'm going to explain it to you. A ruck march is our rucksacks that we carry in the military with all of your gear, clothes, food, ammo, whatever you're going to need. You basically live out of this
Okay.
turtle shell, basically, is what it is.
Right.
And it ranges from 60 to 80 pounds if you're when,
That's
when
what I was
you're,
going
when
to
you're
ask you.
moving
What
around.
is the pound? I mean,
When
it's
you're
gotta
moving
be
around,
up
yeah.
there.
When you're going out and you're camping out for a couple of weeks, or you're out doing
lot of
training
stuff.
missions, or you're living out of it, you're over 100 pounds.
Oh yeah.
So we would do these ruck marches in the Army to prepare to simulate blah blah blah. So I'm looking at it, and it said let's ruck march 50 miles, and that was all it was, and raise money. So at the time I was like, I need to get back in shape. I need to I really hadn't challenged myself since I'd moved back to Virginia. Just kind of just going through the motions, work, raising kids, taking my daughter to softball everywhere,
Awesome.
And so I reached out to Matt Netzel, one of the guys that we'll talk to later, and I said, hey, what do you think about doing this? He lives in Texas. He's like, I can talk him into anything, which is great. I could talk. He was my sergeant in the Army, and he would still chew me out, but he'd always be like, Bender, I love you. You can't be doing that. So
I love sergeants in the Army. I mean,
he was a good one. He's a good one.
I have known probably 5 of them. And there's a certain personality about
there is, and especially one that, because he wasn't a sergeant when I first went in. He'd been in a little bit longer than I have.
So he earned that,
and so he earned it, and he got it while we were in Iraq. And but he's looked out for me from day one of being at the unit until,
and apparently still now
looking out for me. Yeah, still now looking out for me. Great. Yeah, and so I called him, and I called Josh Du Bois, the guy that actually talked me into moving to New Jersey. About 10 years ago, he got me a job contracting with a company where we trained the Army Reserves. Oh. And so I was like, shoot, yeah, let's do it. So I went over there, and we thought we was going to be up there a couple of years, ended up staying 6 years, thinking we were going to end up being there forever, just because we loved it so much in South Jersey. And then I had an uncle who got cancer and a couple of things here and there, and I was like, I think it's time to move back home and be with family. So that's why we're here. But anyway, that leads me to the Stop Soldier Suicide. So I'm scrolling. I haven't really challenged myself. I was in pretty good shape before I moved down here. I was always working hard towards some kind of physical running or whatever.
Right.
And I said, let's do it. And so we had known a couple of guys that had committed suicide from that were veterans, and then a couple of civilians, friends that I had that had committed suicide. So talking to Matt, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. So we started, I said, we would talk every day. I was like, how can we promote this to where we can get the most amount of money and just blow it out of the water? And I was like, let's challenge each other. So every day we posted how many miles we did with pictures and all that stuff. And then we tagged each other in it. And we were like, hey, Matt, I raised X amount of dollars.
Competition.
That's exactly what we said. I said, hey, Matt, let's I said, I raised this amount of money today and walked this ruck march this many miles. What do you got?
What are you
and
doing,
so
bro?
Him and a friend of his, Skyler, who's become a close friend now, we're doing it together in Texas. And so we're chipping back and forth. That was the whole banner between us, was to try to get people like on my side donating, people on his side donating, and it turned out to be really good. So
right.
So with the Stop Soldier Suicide, they said the challenge is to raise money and to ruck 50 miles. Well, to me, when I was trying to come up with a way to really challenge myself, I said 50 miles, did the math. That's not that many miles a day. You could do a handful of 7 or 8 miles and you got it knocked out. So, and I know how important money is to people. And if I'm asking, my friends and family and people on Facebook to donate $10 or $20 or $1,000 or $500, whatever it may be, I want to make it worth their while and let them know that I'm truly invested in what I'm doing.
Right.
So when I started a couple of days before I put all the information out in November with it, I made a deal with my Facebook followers. I said, if you donate, you have my word that I will ruck march every day, all 30 days in the month of November, a minimum of 2.2 miles with a 45-pound rucksack. And the 2.2 miles comes into the 22 soldiers a day that they say on average commit suicide.
Right.
So I say I'll do a minimum of 2.2. Knowing that I want to do more, I'm a very competitive person. Yeah. So I'm trying to blow this thing out of the water miles-wise and money-wise. And then I said, on top of that, we started doing the 2.2, Matt, 9, Skyler, and we're saying, how can we get this bigger and bigger and bigger each day? Because we're seeing things come in, we're seeing the money come in, and I said, let's do a 22 miles on the last day. I said, we're going to rucksack 22 miles, and Matt was like,
wow,
what? He said, we didn't really even do that much in the Army. I think we did the most we did was I don't know, like 12 or 15 miles. I was like, nah, we did way more than that, Matt. Come on, let's do it. And like I said earlier, I could talk Matt into about anything. So he's like, all right, he can't be stood up. So he said, all right, let's do 22 miles. So he flew up him and Skylar flew up. I think I got a couple of pictures of when they were coming in.
We can go through those. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when they came into the airport. And so we did. So we picked them up on the 29th. We marched that night because we had to. That was our deal with the people.
Right.
And then did 22 miles the next day with the 45-pound rucksack. So, and that was the first year that we did it. Was last year.
Man.
So, yeah.
So hats off to you, brother, for making people aware. I mean, not only your service, but then you're doing this extra. I don't know what you call it. It's not extracurricular. That sounds like something you do in college, just but it's just like a extra thing to make people more aware.
That's right. It's bringing awareness. Yeah, it's
right.
bringing awareness.
Awareness.
And it's not
right.
it's not just soldier suicide either. It's and this is where we could pause and get Matt and Josh on the line.
Yeah.
It's civilian suicides too. We've had a lot of kids in the area.
It is.
Over the last couple of years that's committed suicides.
It is. Yeah.
And it
seems more
terrible.
Prevalent. It is. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It scares me to death. I look into it as far as I possibly can without getting involved because I don't want to know what it takes to commit suicide.
Yeah.
So I have had some troubles in my life. But luckily, and praise God, that I've never thought, not once, not one time, that suicide was the answer. Mm-hmm. But I do know, by statistics, that it is the answer to some people.
They think it's the answer. That's right. I mean, because I think I saw a statistic that said every individual that has tried to commit suicide and survived, every 100% of them said they regretted it the instant they did whatever it was they were trying to do. They were at that moment. They said they wish they wouldn't have done it.
Totally.
But what leads me, which is awesome, because Stop Soldier Suicide has a. Do we have a pause it now? I saw we got a thumbs up or something.
We got to take a minute.
She gave me the finger.
She got a couple minutes.
We got a couple minutes, but I mean we're good.
Well,
we're good.
This is something that we could if we only have a couple minutes. It's pretty awesome what they're doing.
Yeah, go for it,
with the Stop Soldier Suicide. They have a project. They have a project called the Black Box Project. So if you think of the black box in like an airplane, we were talking about airplanes before we went on air about you guys flying it for the first time. So, you hear they're searching for the black box so they know what happened in the plane before it wrecks. So so what they're doing is they've gotten 120 individuals that have committed suicide, veterans, their phones from their family members. And what they're doing is they're working with Amazon Web Service and a couple private sector tech companies, and they're taking that individual's phone and they're going back a few months leading up until that last day that they committed suicide, and they're putting it into an algorithm, and it's trying to set some kind of trend so maybe we can figure out, because they're trying, because ultimately they would like to know what that person was thinking the day of they committed suicide.
I want to know that. I want to study that, but I'm like I said, I'm scared to death.
Right. So that's what they're doing. They're taking they're able to get these phones from these family members, and there's been a couple of ABC News I think ran an article, interviewed two families that did this project with them.
Really.
And so they're taking it and they're looking at all their digital footprints, their text messages, their social media feeds, the pictures, what they're Googling.
Trying to see where their mind is.
Seeing where their mind, trying to figure out where they were, what headspace they were in at that time, and trying to help prevent it moving forward.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
They actually received an award from the Veteran Affairs for they were offering $3 million. Like a grant for using digital platforms to try to help improve mental health for veterans. And they showed them this black box project that they're doing and all the information and all the companies that they're working with.
Right.
And I think they won first or second place with them.
Awesome,
and so they're pretty proud of that. So.
Well, there's one thing I can't stand: social media. And I can't stand these suckers. We are not from the generation that uses these things. We were
Samsungs?
80s and 90s
Samsungs?
brothers. Yeah,
Talking about Samsung.
And apples.
You and your iPhone.
That's
Anything with a phone.
These were not our friends back in the 90s. We didn't even know what
That's
the
right.
hell these things were. I didn't know them until 2010. But one good thing is I can see out of that is getting the data that would relate to other people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things I love about this thing, and there's things I hate about it.
That's
but
right.
if that helps another person, amen to that.
You mean
Amen
like
to
when you
that.
say Toyota Tacoma and you're starting to get Toyota Tacoma stuff come up on your feeds?
That scares you to death
Bingo.
a little bit.
That's a whole different
We've
podcast.
talked
We got
about
some Don Henley. We got some Don Henley effect going on here, man. I ain't
All right,
kidding.
we're
but-
going to take a break.
All right.
Yes,
And
we'll
then
be
we're
back.
All right.
Yes.
Take this moment to subscribe. It really helps. And we greatly appreciate it.
And we're back. Thank you for joining us. We're here with Mr. Dennis Bender. We got a lot of stuff we've been talking about. He's bringing awareness to soldier suicide. Certainly thankful for him, a man of our area, and just want to thank him for being out here again, not only serving our country, but serving beyond just our country, serving the people that he cares about, serving people that he loves, serving the family, friends, and everything that we have here in Henry County, Martinsville, Patrick County, and surrounding areas.
And he's got some guests on the air.
He's got some guests. Introduce these guys, man, if you don't mind.
I may want to hang up before I do this. It may not be a good
We can
idea.
edit it later.
All right, good. You got editing skills. All right, I got I think I've spoke about both of them in the first segment of it, but two of my closest friends that anybody could have, Matthew Netzel from Texas and Josh Du Bois from New Jersey.
Awesome.
They're on the phone with us.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, Josh should have been first.
I knew that was gonna happen.
So why did he say
My
that?
last name for a second, so that's a problem.
So here we are with technology again. We was just talking about technology, but I mean,
Where are we
couldn't have
who are
done
we
this.
talking to?
We couldn't have done it.
Where are we from?
Matt's from originally from Buffalo, but he lives in Texas. He's been in Texas for a long time.
So he's
Buffalo
in-
Bills.
He's a New England Patriot fan.
Oh, he's
believe it
a-
or not. And then you
Sorry,
got,
buddy.
Then you got
sorry.
Josh. Josh is the one that brought me up to New Jersey.
Okay.
Lives in South Jersey, Dirty Jersey.
Yeah.
So that's where the two of
Okay.
them. Josh
Jersey
steals
and
there.
Texas.
Yep, Jersey and Texas.
Here in Martinsville.
Man.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And they both have
Yeah,
been
I
here
got
too.
Yeah, we got to come up and visit your guys' neck of the woods. It's beautiful up that way, and the people were great. So
Yeah, we got a lot of
Yeah,
good
just
people.
don't come to Jersey. I'll come to you guys.
Amen.
No. But it's great to have you guys on.
Yes.
And you're a part of this program too, both of you, or just
Well, this is Matt Nets talking. Yeah, I'm a part of it. Dennis, for whatever reason, right? Dennis convinces me to do stupid shit sometimes, and luckily, this
I got
was one of
friends
the
like
things
that.
that I was proud to be a part of, and man, we've done this Ruck March challenge in the month of November.
Awesome.
2 years running now, and hopefully we're going to keep it going for years to come.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
first we want to start off by thanking y'all. I mean, you'll see the podcast later where we were thanking him for his service. So thank both of y'all for your service. Also, we're not just all these other ones going, thank you for your service. We really mean it, man. We really,
bottom of the heart.
Bottom of the heart. We thank y'all for what you have done and what you're doing and the sacrifice that your family has given to this country. And we're just trying to keep it going. We're trying to keep it going and realize, and we're raising our kids up the same. Like he's got 7 kids. I've got 3. We're just raising them up in the same thing of loving the country and, just for other people. That's the main thing of it.
Well, this is Josh. Thanks for what you guys are doing. We need unity in this country right now, for sure.
Right. Amen.
Appreciate that.
Amen. That's a whole different podcast right there. We could get into all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, right.
Like I told him earlier, faith. I still have faith and hope in my country. I don't have faith and hope in my government, unfortunately. But maybe we can turn that around. This is the year 2024. I think we can turn it around, bring a lot of hope to what we have, to what the real people of America.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And I'd say, and I'm with Josh on that. Thanks for you guys, doing a shout out on this. And I'll tell you, man, you guys are blessed to have a guy like Dennis within your community.
Absolutely.
We know that.
A guy that, he's a family first guy, and give a shirt off his back if you needed it. So, for a local guy that you got up there,
right.
Bringing him on this deal, and maybe in the future we can hit you up to raise awareness when we come into November. And,
Absolutely.
Help us get the word out there in regards to donations.
Yes, sir.
And what other people can do to be a part of it.
Well, he'll definitely be back. We need a third. He already asked us, "You need a third on here?" I said, "We need a third.
Right.
We need
He's
a third."
just going to be a weekly guest.
There we go. There we go.
Love it. Love it.
Third host.
Love it.
All right, it's enough.
Yeah. If you need a guy sitting in the corner looking at you, just looking at you awkward, saying, "Well, yeah, sure, we'll do. Yeah, whatever you want to do."
All right, at ease, man, at ease.
So now
I would throw in there to definitely keep it virtual with Dennis because he smells like almond.
I did notice that. I wasn't going to say nothing, but now that you said something.
I think my service is getting disconnected.
What's that Apple? What's that Apple?
It's that Apple phone.
That Apple phone.
Yeah, this Apple phone's messing up, guys. I don't think we can hear you anymore. Jerk off.
So now these are guys you served with.
Unfortunately, they are.
They are.
No, I'm just joking. Yeah, we spent time in Iraq together.
Man.
And we were at Fort Polk together first.
Brothers.
We were at Fort Polk together, and then we went to Iraq together. When we got back from Iraq, they they were moving the units around, and so Matt went to Fort Drum, New York, before I did, like a month before I did, and Josh ended up going to, where'd you go, Kentucky, Josh?
Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell. He went to Fort Campbell.
Oh,
So, but which was crazy, Matt and I was still together. We were in different units, but we rode to work. This moron talked me into living in Syracuse, New York, which is 77 miles south of Fort Drum, New York. Now, let me explain
In
something.
the freezer.
Let me explain
He's gonna
something.
live in the freezer.
So the lake effect snow happens in 81. So you got Fort Drum and Syracuse, 77 miles south of Fort Drum. And that lake effect comes in and it decides, do I want to go north or do I want to go south? But what always gets hit is your drive, the middle of your drive. So not knowing any of this, hold on, you had your second. Not knowing any of this stuff, Matt was like, "Hey, come live in the same apartment that I'm living in. It gives me a referral bonus, and then we get to ride to work together every day." And I'm like, "That's awesome, shoot you." Well, about the first week, I'm like, "What are we doing?"
So I figured we got shot at so many times that you kind of chase that thrill. So going 80 miles an hour in the middle of a night storm was thrill all over.
About as close as you get, right?
Right.
Snow on either
Right.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I could tell you a quick story about Josh. We were talking about the snow. Josh and I also worked together in the civilian world at Fort Dix in New Jersey. It's what took me up there, and we'd alternate who would drive each day, and because we only lived about a mile from each other, so
nice.
we would come down, and we had I think that first winter that I was there was maybe one of the worst winters. They had snow every freaking week up there, but what would him and I do? We're coming down the turnpike, and we pull his emergency brake up and doing donuts, cars behind us. Yeah, I talk him into doing the stuff. So yeah, so we've had a good time. We have a good time.
Great.
But
That's great.
About ping pong.
yeah, we'll leave ping pong out of this, Josh.
You know,
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
you hear stories from World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea War. You hear these wars where these people, these strangers, became best friends.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the Iraq War and what 9/11 brought to us has created that in y'all three.
Oh, absolutely,
Brotherhood.
100%. I mean,
How else would you met him? From
we wouldn't
Martinsville,
have-
Virginia.
Yeah,
I mean, you know.
we wouldn't have met. So yeah,
Right.
it definitely would have.
That's awesome.
Yep.
It's awesome.
It's amazing.
Well, back on to the SSS there.
Yeah, so I think I talked about earlier that it's not just. I know I'm speaking for SS. Well, not speaking for them. I'm raising money. I raise money for them.
Right.
But I also we talked about making sure we're bringing awareness to suicide in general.
Yes. Yes.
Matt and his friend Skylar, who did the ruck with me last year and did the 22 miles with me, both of them suffered. Someone in there, both of their family members who committed suicide within the past 6 months or so, I think it is. So, it's like every time you turn around, it's just a reminder that we need to keep, we're not doing enough. We need to keep doing more.
Right.
In those days when it was cold out there, I tell you, this year was harder for me to do as far as just the motivation of getting out there for whatever reason for me. And it was their stories, what Skylar and what Matt had gone through,
Push forward,
and it was like, you know what, this is more than just your little crying that you're tired from work or whatever.
Right.
So I really just want to tell people, I mean, just call somebody.
Yes.
And that's another thing that I took a vow a few years ago is that if any one of my guys that I served in the Army with at any point calls me, no matter what time of day it is or what time of night it is, I make sure I answer the phone. Yes. Now, Josh and Matt are a little bit different because we talk on a regular basis.
I'd hang up on their ass real quick.
Believe me, I've called Matt. I've called Matt like 5 times in the last 2 days to try to talk about this, and the jerk off didn't answer the phone. So it's finally got him today. But
we got him.
But yeah,
those are friends.
Yeah,
those are friends.
But,
we got him.
But I think, but I definitely did. In my head, because it's happened a handful of times. I mean, Matt's the same. Matt's called me and said, "Hey, I just got a phone call from so and so. He may be calling you, or talk to Josh." Like, and we band together. So that group of 8 or 9 that I talked about earlier. If there's one of us or one of the guys that we served with, if we hear that he's not doing well, we reach out and make sure all of us are reaching out. So
y'all are still serving.
Most of the time, that's all it takes.
Yeah,
it's just somebody
still serving,
to reach out
still
and say,
serving.
Hey,
yeah.
Not only gave their lives back after 9/11, but still serving to this day. I mean, still giving that heart that they had back then, wanting to go over there and ride 4-wheelers. Yeah. But that wasn't the thing of it. It was serving the American public to where, hey, I know what you've been through. I've been through it. I've felt this. I know what you're going through. Just reach out, man. Just reach out. Yeah. And I mean, that just that amazes me, y'all's heart that y'all still have for this. And we got some pictures. I don't want to interrupt you. I want you to keep going with what you're talking about there we go.
He said he's the good looking one.
He's definitely the better looking one in that picture.
So now who we got here? What?
So obviously you see that's Claire. That's the lady that I deal with the Stop Soldier Suicide. Matter of fact, the company is out of Raleigh, or the organization's out of Raleigh. And I did not know that.
I didn't either. It's nationwide. And it's out of Raleigh?
Yep, they're out of Raleigh.
Wow.
The founders were 2 veterans who lost a close friend of theirs to suicide, and so they started this organization, and they got it. It's based out of Raleigh. Matt and Skylar were flying in, and for whatever reason, I talked to Claire, and she said, "Yeah, we're out of Raleigh," and I'm like, "Well, Matt and Skylar's flying in." So we that day when they flew in, we pulled in there. Because they were on our way home, and
that's some kind of race car hood, or something.
Yep, that is on a NASCAR. I guess they sponsored that.
Awesome,
yep.
Awesome.
That's picture.
Keep going. Yes, Miss Shania. There we go.
So right there is Josh. Sorry, buddy. These are from Ruckin last year. I don't know if I have anything.
Oh, we got the guys on the phone here.
Or? Matt is Matt again. Is right there in the green. Skylar.
Matt is the pretty one. Okay.
Oh God. Oh gosh, please don't do this. Can we edit this out?
We can edit it.
So Matt. So I'll tell you a good story about that. Matt carried that flag all 30 days last November.
Yes, sir.
Year. Every day he carried that.
Yes,
now,
sir.
Let me tell you, it's challenging to carry something when you're ruck marching with the weight, because you need your arms to sway. Yeah. And he is as stubborn as they come, and he was able to make it through with that flag. And he left the flag.
Sir.
He left the flag here and was going to get a new one this year, but did not. So he gave it to my brother. And I asked my brother, I said, "Do you still have Matt's flag?" And he said, "Yeah." And so I carried it every day. I carried it this year.
Yes,
And
sir.
on the 22 and on the
Love
22 miles. And so the guy in the middle is Skylar, Matt's friend from.
That's my shit.
That is my shit too, man. For
Yeah,
real.
and then my son and I right there.
That's
That's
great.
my
in
shit.
that picture. Yep.
That is
Right.
great.
Right.
Thank you.
Right there's us again back down there at the
With the car hood.
with the car hood. Yeah, you keep flipping through until we see somebody different. And there's us three goons again. That's my favorite
There you
picture,
go.
Matt. This is the picture.
Uptown Martinsville?
Yeah, Uptown Martinsville, Matt. When you have the American flag straight up and it's blowing, I took that picture right there. It's a pretty nice
That is
picture. Right
great.
there.
That is a great picture.
Freaking
For real.
Yeah, so that's a pretty awesome
Yes.
picture. Yep. I think that's us at the end of the march right there. You can tell we're pretty happy.
Yeah, very much so.
Yep.
I love it.
This is my
I was tired of dealing with Dennis.
this is my childhood best friend right here, Chris Clark, and his wife Risa Clark, and their two
Nice.
kids right here. They walked. They did a lot of walking with me last year, probably 7 or 8 times throughout the 30 days, and then
Nice.
this year I think I have a picture of Risa. She walked with me a couple of days towards the end of the month, and then she was one of the. I'll tell you a funny story about Risa. Risa is an amazing woman, and she likes to talk.
Hey.
So she shows up for the last 4 or 5 miles of the 22 miler on the last day.
4 or 5 miles of her talking your ear off. Oh my
Well,
God!
no, typically,
I'm sorry.
typically it's really good to talk.
No,
It takes
I-
your
Oh, it
mind
is.
off things.
Right,
Absolutely.
Right.
But
right.
16 and 17 miles in, I need to put earbuds in, and I need to listen to Godsmack or
motivation.
something.
Something to
And
get
I
that-
told Reese, and I said, Reese, I don't want you to take this a certain way. I said, because I love you and I really appreciate you for being here. I said, but I don't need to talk. I need to just focus in.
That's
My
sweet.
feet are
That's
killing
sweet,
me.
though.
And she was like, whatever you need.
Right.
So
I
but
say
she
that
was
to the missus every night.
Yeah.
I'd be
That's
like,
sweet.
well, I don't need to talk right now.
so she was pretty awesome.
It is sweet.
That is great.
That's sweet. Thank you.
To
Both
have
of
the
those.
family out there.
That's Chris again.
That's cool, man.
So right here, Robbie Jones. He's the lieutenant here in the city of Martinsville.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie Jones. So a big thank you to the city chief of police. Finch is his name, I think. Yes,
I'm not sure.
I think so.
Yeah,
A
I
big
think
thank
it
you
is.
to this Martinsville City Police. They
Yeah.
let Robbie. Robbie walked a lot with me last year too, but this year
Really?
he was unable to walk. We go to church together, so we're pretty
Okay.
close.
Yeah.
This year, the city allowed him because Netzel and Skylar weren't allowed to come. Wasn't able to make it up for the 22 miles this year.
Oh.
I was talking to Robbie about it, trying to get people to help join me, Josh, for the 22 miles for parts of it.
Josh, don't put up with that shit, man. We'll be right here with them. Hey, we could do that with you.
So,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
the
we
city,
could do
so-
that with
we can
you.
do it.
yeah,
I need it.
you can
Yeah.
join. So the city
We will,
actually,
brother.
Robbie was supposed to work that day, and the city has I call it like a glorified scooter. That thing flies, but they do the Dick and Willie trail on.
Yeah.
They patrol the Dick and Willie on.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
the chief said, stay with him the entire 22 miles on that thing.
Wow.
So he was able to.
Really?
So he stayed with me that way if I needed anything. My
Man.
brother was big as far as bringing water and food and stuff out, but
Wow.
I had somebody with me for the entire time. He had to go to court for a couple hours, so I had a 2-hour window where I was by myself, which was kind of nice to get out there and keep going. But
Yeah.
he was with me for 98% of
That
the ruck
is
march. So
great.
big thank you to the
Yeah,
to
Martinsville
the
Police
Martinsville Police Department and the
Yes.
chief for allowing that to
Yes.
happen.
Thank y'all, Martinsville Police Department. Man, telling you,
That's
what.
Probably knew Dennis was going to try to skip out some of those miles, so they were holding him accountable.
Amen.
You
I
know,
hear that.
you know it, buddy. That's my brother. That's one of the.
That's your brother.
That's my brother right
That's
there.
cool,
yeah,
man.
yeah, that's my
Yeah,
brother.
That's cool, man.
So
Everybody
he did a lot with me right there.
doing it together.
Doing it together. Yeah,
That's
he did a
great.
lot of the with me last year.
Man,
and
appreciate
he was my support system this
That's
year as far
great,
as bringing
man.
stuff out and everything.
Man,
Yeah.
appreciate you, man. That's great.
Yeah, and then right there's my dad saying a prayer with Matt,
Oh, man.
Skylar, myself,
That
just
is
to kind of let us.
awesome.
My dad was driving at some point last year. He had the windows down. I think he had his back hatch opened up, and he was playing patriotic music the whole way.
Yeah.
God bless
Oh, he's
America.
proud of his
yeah,
boys,
he's
man.
definitely proud of us. So,
Yeah.
so
What's
that
his
was-
name? What's
his name's Dennis Bender too.
Dennis Bender too.
Yep.
Okay, so he's Dennis Jr. or-
No,
I
our
mean
middle
senior.
names middle
Sorry.
names are different. So,
Okay,
yep.
okay, yeah,
Yep.
cool. I
Yep.
love it, man. I love it.
So right there,
that trip cost me a lot of money, guys. Just so you know.
the company that he owns paid for it.
Oh.
But Netzel Roofing and Construction.
And figured I'd just right 5-second rule, and I threw it in my mouth and bit down and chunked a huge chunk out of my tooth.
Oh, that's right. He sure did. I forgot all about that.
Eating rocks. Yeah.
Yep, I forgot all about that.
If that's not a cavalry move, I don't know what.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't crayons, right?
Yeah. So this is
Yeah. Damn right.
So this is the Elks Club. They donated $1,000 last year, and they did it again this year.
Yes,
so this is
thank
just
y'all.
them. They wanted a picture, and I wanted this picture too. So that was pretty awesome of them to do right there.
Totally awesome. Thank
Right
you.
there's
Elks
my
Club.
there's my brother and my brother. Right there's my son and Matt at that night of the 22 miles. So
Yeah. So you say your son's 11 years old?
he's
now?
12.
Oh, he's 12.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's 12,
cool.
and he's about 6 inches taller than that. That's crazy how fast he's gotten.
Oh
up
man,
there. Yeah, it's
them
wild.
boys grow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm telling
I'm
you.
trying
what.
to you keep going. I'm trying to get us to the ones from this. There's a couple this year with that I had Sheriff Wayne Davis.
Yeah, I saw those.
Yeah,
There we go.
Yeah. Well, I keep going. Now that's
he's not
from
on
last
there
year's
yet.
with the three of us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a good
I
looking
saw
dude.
the
Right
one.
there's a couple.
Dude, that's
All right.
back in the day.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's actually in Iraq right there. That's
Really?
that's my truck right there. So we have in the middle, well, on the far right, you have me.
So that picture right there is in Iraq.
That's in that's in the
Ain't that
palace.
something
Yep.
crazy?
Yep, that's where
Man.
that's right there where we lived for about a year. But you have Calvert, who was our gunner.
I mean, on the other side of the world.
Calvert.
Yep.
I mean,
Levi
it's
Let me
nothing-
tell you,
it's nothing to y'all, but to us, I mean, I'm just like, that's like 13,000 miles away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what? I mean, it just amazes me.
I'll give you a brief description of Calvert right there. Calvert is, as you could tell, a dork. He works for a three-letter.
Me too. I'm king of the dorks.
He works for one of those three-letter agencies or whatever, doing security for their computers and stuff.
That's great.
And he's the guy that was the computer guy. But I'm telling you, when there was a firefight going on,
He was there.
did not waver one
That's
bit.
awesome.
It was amazing that you would think that. I mean, you picture like the guy in the middle. We called him Lee. He's G.I. Joe. I mean, he looks like G.I. Joe, right? So you would assume him and Matt right there in that picture would be that way. But Calvert, but he was, man.
That's still Iraq right
Yep,
there.
that's matter of fact, we slept
Look at
in
that
there.
doorway.
Yep, we slept in there. That's the
Wow.
That's the palace that we slept in for a while.
Ain't that something, man?
And whole truck.
Wow.
All right.
That's definitely off to y'all, man.
All right, so yeah, right
There
here,
we go.
Yep,
There's
right
Wayne
here we go.
Davis.
So Sheriff Wayne Davis, I called him.
in his pajamas.
You know what's funny? he was part of. He had just come from.
I love him. I'm glad he got elected.
I am too.
He just in this picture. He just came from serving a
A
search warrant.
sleepover.
No,
No,
serving a search warrant.
Yeah.
He had just come from serving a warrant. So I called him.
Really?
I called him and asked him if there's any way that
Totally supportive.
Now what? That was November.
Yep, that was
So,
November, right before the election.
2023.
That's
He
November 1st. Yep,
He collected a lot of drug dealers around here.
he sure did.
Right
and so
there.
that's one of the
Yeah.
days he got somebody, and then that
Okay.
evening we did this. So I talked to him. I've known him for a long time. My brother worked with him for a long time.
That's
And
awesome.
matter of fact, I bought his house. So
Oh,
I
there
got
you
to,
go.
Wow.
yeah, so I got to know him pretty well. So I called him,
Yeah.
reached out, and I said, "Hey, I'm supporting you and what you're doing. Would you be willing to come out
Oh,
and
I
walk?
knew he would
Kind
be.
of scratch my back." And
Yeah.
he's absolutely. So he was there.
absolutely, yes.
Mike Menor, who was a good friend of mine, we're both members over at Forest Park. I've gotten to know him a lot the last couple of years, so was supporting him in the November.
Nice.
So he was there with me, and then Erica Kapka Wade, you probably seen her signs up in
Yep,
Patrick
we know
County.
Erica
She
very
goes to
well.
church. She goes to church with me, so I invited her out to walk
Awesome.
with us. So that was the first day that we kicked it off on November 1st.
Awesome.
So big thank you to Sheriff Wayne Davis, Mike
Yes.
Menor, and Erica.
Yes.
For their support. They
Right.
all donated. They all did their time. So
That's
it was
nice.
awesome.
That is great.
Yep.
Great. Love those
I've
folks.
known Erica for years. She comes into our veterinary clinic. She was running against one of my cousin-in-laws for clerk of courts
Morganville.
up
Yep,
there.
that's right.
And so I wanted to support her, but I also got relatives that you got to support. So you got to kind of be thrown in the
She's
middle
good.
of
You kinda
things.
tied.
She's good people.
But
Yeah, she's good
regardless
people.
of that politics, She's good people.
She's
Very
good people.
really
Her
good
husband's awesome. Robbie is
Yes.
an amazing guy.
Yes.
And their little girl is awesome. So, yep.
They're in with the volunteer fire department.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
That's
just,
right.
it's awesome.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so this is
They are awesome.
This
Thank
is
y'all.
Matt's fiance came up with this little
50-mile ruck challenge.
yeah, this little flyer for us.
Sorry, I want to just, for the layman, what's ruck?
Ruck
think
is we went back and talked about that earlier.
talked about
It's
it
the
earlier.
rucksack that we carried with all our stuff on.
Right.
If you notice in the pictures, I chose to go with a weighted vest this year versus the rucksack. I'm
Right.
getting older. I'm not 22 anymore. That weighted vest does
Amen.
it's the same amount of weight, but
So it gives you a little more front.
it's a little more up front versus everything in your back, and it
Gotcha.
killed me last year. So I went
Gotcha.
ahead and got that weighted vest.
I know you mentioned it, but I mean, for the layman out there, which is me,
Yep.
watching
me.
it, I'm like, ruck?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
We just got a 2-minute warning, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
That means we've been talking for an hour and didn't even
Well,
know it.
all right. Well, Matt, Josh, do y'all want to? Is there anything that you guys want to put
Please.
in there? Or say we were talking about everything else.
Right.
I would just like to thank you for including all the pictures of me in there, dude. I
You're a handsome fella there.
He's the
Yeah.
he's my bald friend. He's my bald friend.
Hey, we would like to set up a time that we had all three out on the show, if that was ever possible, maybe next November or something.
Always welcome.
We get together. We get together. We try to get together once a year.
Nice.
I
Well, let
think,
us know.
I think
Get some
the last
pictures.
time. I think that we're supposed to get together here around this area. So at some point, I mean, you want to have
Oh,
a good.
next
You want to
time
have a
it's
good.
here.
You want to
Let's
have a
do
good
it.
time. We can bring 6 or 7 guys, a couple of beers,
Let's
and
do it.
we
Let's
would
do
have a
it.
great
Let's do
time.
it.
So.
I told you the first 3 rounds are on me.
I'll bring the beer.
Let's do it.
Matt, anything you want to add? One.
do not bring fireworks around Dennis.
Don't do that. Big thank you to actually Netzel Roofing and Construction out of Dallas. They not only did the ruck with me, they donated both years to my thing. So really quick about the Stop Soldier Suicide.
Yes. Take your time, bro.
Yeah, I really want to get the stuff their
Yeah,
stuff out about them. They have seen over 5,000 clients since they started, and they have not lost one single client since they
Man.
started doing this.
That's a blessing.
So I guess their steps, what they do is if someone needs help, therapy, they pay for that. It's about $75 an hour. So every $75 donated pays for an hour.
Man.
I talked to her today, and they said it's 75 cents for every dollar goes to the veterans. They do have a
Wow.
little bit of overhead that they
Wow.
have to cover, which is
You gotta have
yeah,
but it's
you got
better
to.
than a lot of that we hear
Amen.
out there. So
Amen.
they're doing a lot of good stuff. Their goal is to decrease soldier suicide by 40% by the year 2030.
Amen.
I mean, just
Let's
one.
do more.
Just one.
I mean, which would help
Just
me out
one.
on
Let's
the,
do more.
which would help me out on November 30th. I can tell you
Amen.
that right now. If we
Amen.
can get it down to 10 or 12 miles, that's a little bit easier to do than
Amen.
22. So.
Amen. Get down to none.
But yeah,
Expound on that.
do what?
Can I expound on what?
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
saying?
Please do.
Absolutely,
Please do.
please.
So here's one thing I want everybody, all your listeners to keep in mind as well is I've been out since 2010, and one of the hardest things and the system is broke in regards to the VA system
Yeah.
and
Yes, it is.
getting mental health help. Okay, so I personally have had mental health appointments, and you bank on that time to really kind of unleash and get everything off your chest and off your heart, and hopefully find some solace in how you're feeling and maybe some guidance from somebody.
Amen.
And the sad part is those appointments get rescheduled all the time, to the point where sometimes it's 3 months before you're seen, and an organization like Stop Soldier Suicide, being something that somebody can utilize to fill that void when our VA system fails us, is I think is one of the big driving forces for me in regards to backing an organization like Stop Soldier Suicide.
Right.
So obviously, right, we all have something that makes us tick, something that we align ourselves with that we could potentially donate to. And whether it's Stop Soldier Suicide or it's just a National Suicide Prevention organization or whatever it may be, I just ask that everybody kind of take it in their heart and maybe look at opportunities where they could be of help to the people going through these mental health crises. And what can we do to help not only the soldiers and veterans, but also just our young kids nowadays with how soft they are in regards to dealing with it, not knowing how to deal with the mental health.
Amen.
You know, how to deal with some of the things that they're going through because maybe they don't have, you know, what we had growing up. So.
Amen.
That's I just wanted to put that out there.
I love it, man. Thank you.
If we stop drinking 3 or 4 cups of coffee a month, we could donate $20 a month.
Right.
Like this.
Right. Amen. Thank you, brother. I greatly appreciate that.
Well, thank both of you for being on the air with us, and we're getting cut off for today. So come back.
Sir. We'll appreciate you having us.
All right,
Man,
guys. Love
thank
you, boys.
Definitely get back.
Love you guys.
Definitely get back in touch with us. Yeah, definitely getting back in touch with us. We're going to stay connected with Dennis
absolutely.
here and definitely have him back here on the air.
This is dear to my heart.
Man,
this
it is for real.
This is something
We can
for
just
real.
It's been fun. Thank
We
you
can do it
guys.
next
I really,
week.
yeah.
Right.
Man, this is a lot of fun.
Man,
so
thank
if you guys need somebody here, I would be on board as many times as you want out here.
appreciate
Well,
it,
same
man.
back at you. You
Yeah,
need
you
someone
guys
to
are
run.
awesome. You
You need
awesome.
someone to run with you, walk
Thank
with
you.
you. We're
Appreciate
there.
you, man.
Yep.
Appreciate
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
I
guys.
know there's a lot more we could talk about.
There is.
And it's like
Just
it's
an
like-
hour like that.
It does.
I mean,
it goes by
it
quick.
just goes by really
I
quick.
wanted, you know, with the guys, they're important, you know, because it's not about me. They help, they support, and financially, and with the walk. So we could have probably done more talk. I hope I did.
will.
I hope I did justice to Stop Soldier Suicide because what they're doing is amazing.
We'll
So
put up some.
We'll get all
information.
your links at the bottom. If y'all want to follow us on YouTube, right there, just click on the bottom. It's right there. You ain't got to follow us. I mean, it's just right there at the bottom of this show. And, of course, we'll have all the links on Facebook and YouTube. But we'll have him back out here some more.
Sounds
Definitely. If he'll come. I know you will.
I am
bro.
here. I'm here.
I love you, man. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you, guys.
Thank you again.
Thank you for support.
And sorry we're running out of time.
But we're here.
We'll see you again.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love y'all.
Y'all be good.
Cool.
Y'all be real and come on back.
Come on back.
Let's go.